Boom! It's Alwi Baturilan, and tonight's special training, guys, is a thank you to all of you. I essentially wanted to share with you what I personally practice myself, because I am a true believer that in order to succeed in anything that you want to do, we need a couple of things, okay? One, we need to have the ability to self-reflect on all of our actions, right? And we also need the ability to set goals, right? It's impossible to achieve things without even setting them in the first place. And third, which I think is the most important thing in my personal journey, going from failure to success, is the power of visualization. And visualization can only happen if you actually know what is it exactly that you want to visualize, okay? For so many years, guys, after 6 years of failure, it took me a long time to realize how important this exercise is, and this is exactly why I wanted to share it with all of you for being part of my community. And tonight isn't about tactics, right? Normally I'm sharing strategies as well as tactics. Tonight's training is about getting brutally honest with ourselves so that 2026 isn't just a repeat of 2025 with the new wallpaper, right? I'm definitely guilty of that in the previous years. We're going to reflect, set clear goals, reverse engineer the numbers, and decide what we are done tolerating in 2025, okay? Because success don't usually come from learning more. It comes from finally committing to the right things and sticking with them long enough to let them work. Okay, so let's walk through this together. I'll guide you through the questions, question by question. Don't write what sounds good. Please just write what is true. And ideally, before we dive into the exercise, you definitely want to make a copy. I'll leave a link to the document that I'm about to share with you guys. And essentially, just answer this at your own time. There's not going to be a referee. There's not going to be somebody else looking at this. You really want to sit down and try to answer it as brutally honest as possible so that this piece of document is going to help you or navigate you to be able to guide you to the success that you're looking for in 2026, all right? Okay, somewhere in the post, right, just find the link to this document. You'll see this document that's right in front of you. The first thing you want to do is essentially select File, make a copy. Okay, so how do you do that? You just go to File, top left, and then download it or make a copy, right? So that you can actually edit and write all of your inputs, your own inputs, and keep it for yourself so that you can reference this throughout 2026, okay? So this is a very powerful exercise that I recently just did for myself, and this is exactly why I wanted to share it with all of you. It's so important, guys, because the one thing that I personally did not do is really to self-reflect and really set those goals. I am just like everybody else before this when I was failing year after year. I would set vague goals. I would set goals that's on the go, like non-meaningful goals, guys, right? So this is why I really wanted to do this training so that everybody can truly benefit from this and can make 2026 their year as best as possible, okay? So what this isn't, right? So firstly, this isn't about judging yourself for 2025, okay? It's none of that, guys. It's more of a reflection, okay? It's not about beating yourself up on all of the mistakes, right? The thing is, you won't even know what to avoid if you did not even self-reflect in the first place, right? You would have never noticed it unless you have sat down and really thought about it, okay? And it's not about pretending that everything was perfect either, right? So this is actually a big problem when you don't sit down, self-reflect, and try to understand actually where you need to work, where you need to improve, and things like that, okay? This is essentially about being brutally honest with yourself. That's all that is, right? That's why it's a very personal thing. That's why I decided to just do this as a training for you guys so that you can take it on your own. Those of you guys who are serious to build your business online and try to make it a success, especially in 2026, okay? So there is a couple of parts to this document, and we'll start from the top. I'll walk you guys through this. Let me just zoom it in a bit. And essentially, part one is all about 2025's reflection, okay? So the first question here is, for you guys, again, just populate your own answer. Don't have to make it sound good. Just be brutally honest with yourself, okay? This is what's going to make the exercise very impactful. Overall, was 2025 a good year for you? Why or why not? If it is, why? If it's not, why exactly it was not, okay? This can be very much business focused. This can also be very much personal related focus, okay? So this is a very important question, and you just want to answer in the best possible way that you can, okay? The next question is, what is one thing you're genuinely proud of from this year's? So important, guys. Half of us, including me, I almost did not sit and just reflect what was the thing that I'm most proudest of, okay? The next question is, what is one thing you're disappointed about from this year? What is it exactly? And then try to identify why. Okay. Next question is, what did you spend the most time on in 2025? This is so simple, and you won't realize that, where exactly you've been spending your time for 2025 that will help you identify for 2026. The next one is, what did you say was important but didn't actually give enough time or energy to? Boom! I'm so guilty of this, okay? So this is really a powerful self-reflection. Think about it. Be brutally honest with yourself, okay? And the next one is, what habit helped you the most this year? Okay, so important to really pin this down, because without us really sitting and thinking about it, we would have never realized that this is the main habit that we should carry forward or we should be improving, okay? And vice versa, what habit hurt you the most? Okay, so this is definitely an exercise that you need to think through a little bit. And for me personally, it was a hard one, but I had to admit certain things to myself as well, okay? And the next one is, if you're being honest, did you give 2025 your best effort or just enough, okay? Again, super hard questions, guys, but that's exactly why this will be a very impactful self-reflection exercise, because it makes you sit down and really think it through and really reflect on all the things that took place in 2025, okay? So that's part number one. It's easy for me to read the questions. It's hard to answer them, okay? So definitely spend some time. Part number two, equally as important from self-reflection, is your life, your energy, and your relationships, right? Because at the end of the day, every single thing or every single aspect of our life actually matters, and there is a correlations to our success as well, right? Our mental health, our well-being, our relationships, right? So the first question here is, did your business give you more freedom this year or more stress? For those of you guys who are just starting, just tweak this question on your own, right? If you had this thought about wanting to start but you did not start, maybe you can tweak it that way. For those of you guys who already have a business, most of you guys should have, this should be an easier question to answer, okay? And then the next one, who in your life supported you the most in 2025? For me, it's definitely my wife, and I like the fact that you even think about it to really appreciate them without them even truly knowing, okay? Next, who or what drained your energy the most? I think this is an important one, guys. If we surround ourselves with the wrong people, even though we did not really realize it, it's very good to be aware of exactly who do we need to avoid and why exactly we need to avoid them, essentially. And honestly, guys, when you work on yourself, especially if you have this success kind of mindset, you would realize that this is a very dangerous trap, right? So if you can identify these kind of things very early, it will certainly help you. All I can tell you guys is the more successful I became, or when I started to really start achieving those small success to eventually where I am today, you would know that I cut more and more people along the way, okay? And part of it is because of this, draining your energy, right? That doesn't actually have an impact to the goal that you want to achieve, okay? The next one, did you take care of your body this year? Painful to ask, yes or no, right? And the reason this question exists is, at least for me, is because there's no point going after wealth if you don't have the health to back it up, guys, right? It will always be health over wealth any single day. So this is so important. And taking care of your body is not just about being on the healthy aspect, but what happens. It helps you think better, it helps you sleep better, it helps you produce or come up with better ideas for your business, all right? So most people don't see it this way. The next one is, did your relationship improve, stay the same, or get worse? So this is also a very hard one to really think about. And next, if someone close to you was being brutally honest, what would they say you worked too much on? My wife will probably tell me that I work too much. So this is also very good to be self-aware on what that is. Next, what area of your life did you neglect because business was busy, right? So this is also a very painful one if you truly think about it, right? For me, before leaving my 9-to-5 job, it was about working too much. And then now that I start my business, I still feel like I'm working a bit too much more on my business since I'm doing this full time. So I still pen this down because I feel like it's important to be self-aware of it so that in 2026, I can be consciously aware about this and try to improve it so I don't repeat the same thing, okay? So part 2 was all about your life, your energy, as well as your relationship. Part number 3 is clear goals, okay? And you'll notice that most people will probably just go with goals, not even clear goals, but you will see that part 1, part 2 really matters. And when you're doing this kind of exercise, it's holistic, right? There's more to it than just setting goals for 2026. There's more to it than just saying, I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3 next year. Okay, so part 3, clear goals. If 2026 was a success, what would be different this time next year? So really think about it. If you were to achieve the success that you want, what will be different versus 2025? Okay, so this is a mixture of visualization, which is so important into success, as well as achieving goals. You need to have the ability to see it in your mind, visualize it, right, when you are essentially going through this journey. Okay. Next, what's your target revenue or milestone for next year? So if you don't have a target revenue milestone just yet, you can aim simple things, right? If it's not monetary, it could be simple things like making your first $100, your first $1,000, right? Or your first $10,000 if you have made some much more money. So this is going to be highly relevant to your situation. And the next question here, once you identify that, is why does that number matter to you personally? It's also important. Everybody wants to achieve a certain amount of income, but they never truly identify why that income. They just think that this income is going to set them free and be happy. But if you actually break it down, you establish some kind of why, and that why, that drive behind that why becomes even more powerful to push you through the hardest days or to motivate you whenever you're struggling or thinking about quitting, okay? The next one is, what would hitting that number allow you to do or stop doing? So it goes back to this power of visualization. Right? You identify all of these things ahead of time, right? You want to hit this, you want to achieve this much, and you're doing this because of X, right? Your Y, and why this specific number, what's going to help you. Like, it almost like indirectly builds this plan in place that you would know what to do or what to avoid. So kind of like a compass to help you visualize whether you are moving into the right path or not. So important. What's one thing you must stop doing in 2026 that's stopping you from achieving that goal that you have set, or from stopping you in general to achieve that goal? Okay, so simple for questions, but very powerful to really think about, okay? And then vice versa, what's one thing you must do consistently in 2026? Okay, it could be as simple as creating content, or it could be as simple as showing up daily, or something of that sort that you know you need to do in order to be able to achieve whatever it is that you're trying to aim for, okay? And then part 4 is reverse engineering. This is another way of saying know your numbers, okay? And it doesn't matter which part of your business that you're currently in. You have to know your numbers in order to be able to hit it, okay? So the first question is, based on your goal, how many subscribers, sales, or leads do you need per month? Okay, so this is going to differ. What that element is, just insert it. How many of that specific element, whether it's subscribers, sales, or leads, do you need per month to be able to hit that number that you need? Okay, once you identify that, broken down weekly, how many is that really? So you take a big number. It has to be realistic, right? If there's anything, make it a realistic number. If you've never made your first $100, guys, then aim for your first $100, right? If you've never made more than $1,000, then aim for your first 1,000 before you move on to the next milestone. If you've made 5, aim for 10. That to me is somewhat realistic, okay? Most people would probably never even hit their first 100 or their first 1,000. They're already aiming for their first 10K. That's not realistic. Okay, the point of goal setting and reverse engineering a number is to break them small enough that it becomes highly likely that you can achieve it. That's why we break them down to weekly. How many is that really? For example, if it's $1,000 a month, your first $1,000, if you've broken down into every single week, right? Instead of like just going for the full 1,000, it becomes 250 a week. That makes it a little bit more realistic to achieve, okay? The next question is, does that number feel impossible or just uncomfortable? Okay, this is when you will know, okay, is it being realistic or this is just out of whack? There's no possible way, I need to reduce it. And then the next thing is, what's the biggest thing currently stopping you from hitting that specific number or object? So this is where we start to identify, right? If I can't hit a certain thing, I'm going to identify what is it. If I wanted to do something, let's just say I wasn't good at doing videos just like this, the first thing I'll ask myself is, how do I improve myself to be able to do the thing that I want? Is it taking a course? Is it taking more lessons? Is it shooting more videos and putting it up publicly? Something within this kind of direction, but you just change the context, okay? And then the next question, is that a skill problem, a focus problem, or an execution problem? This will help you identify, is it a skill set that you need? Like for example, if I wanted to learn how to create offers and I wasn't good at it, I know it's a skill problem. So I know that I need to learn how to do it. A focus problem could be something else, right? Or an execution problem. Like maybe I know how to create an offer, but I just don't know how to bring it to life with the tech. So then it helps me focus in the areas that I need to, right? And if you focus on one system for all of 2026, what would it be? This right here is very powerful, guys, right? This is essentially a way for you to truly identify, focus on one thing, right? To make it as success as possible. I made this mistake, as you guys would know, like I failed for over 6 years because I tried all sorts of things, right? I tried this tool, I tried different business models, so on and so forth, until I found one and I said, I'm just going to sit down and focus on one, and that's exactly what I did, okay? I want you guys to sit down and reflect what that one thing is going to be, right, for 2026. And finally, the last part, right? The decision, part 5, okay? What are you done tolerating in 2026? This could be as powerful as done giving yourself excuses, or this could be as simple as I'm done trying to figure this out on my own. I'm going to invest in a mentor or a coach and things like that. Because I know that's exactly what I did. I failed for 6 years because I tried to figure out myself, right? And in the final year, I said, okay, the one thing that I've not done is truly invest that I did. And I spent a lot of money. I'm not going to lie, okay? The next question is, what standard are you raising next year? So again, super simple question, but very powerful once you really think about this, okay? The next one is, if nothing changes in your action, where will you be this time next year, okay? This is a way to identify the pain. If you don't hit that specific thing, what's going to happen ahead of time? Instead of going through it and realizing that, you know what, this is going to happen, you actually truthfully will know. If you don't show up in your business, you know nothing is going to happen, right? So by writing it down and thinking about it right now and having this document where you can look at any point in time in 2026 will just help you, remind you. It's like you set your goals and you always, like for me, I have a set of goals that I've always written, my why, essentially with my family, with my wife and all that stuff. And whenever I feel demotivated, I take that up and I start like looking at what I wrote early in the year, because it actually helps me remind me like last year I said this, I already knew that this is a thing that I wanted to avoid. And before you know it, guys, it just picks you up on its own. So that's why this exercise is so powerful, okay? Last one. Are you willing to do the boring, repeatable work long enough for this to actually work? So here, you essentially want to just be very truthful with yourself, okay? All right, guys, that is a very powerful exercise that will definitely make you sit down and think. Just do it at your own time. Definitely sit down and be very, very brutally honest. Write them down. This is key. Don't just think about it, okay? So I hope that helps. I hope you guys have an awesome end of 2025, and I'll see you guys in 2026. Happy New Year in advance. Let's go.